Call to order the Ascension Parish Council meeting, April 21st, 2022. Coach, would you do us the honors? Please rise to the invocation and the pledge.
Let's bow our heads, please. Most Heavenly Father, as we come at this hour in the evening, we come with praise, honor, and glory. We come, Lord, to say thank you for the many, many blessings that you bestowed upon us. And Lord, as we come together tonight, we ask that you allow us to take care of parish business. We ask, Lord, a blessing upon every person that's under the sound of my voice tonight. And Lord God, as we leave this place tonight, I'm asking, Lord, that you allow each of us to get home safe and sound to our families. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Coach. Roll call, Madam Secretary. Councilman Lambert, Councilman Orgeron, and Councilman Turner are not here at this time. They may show up later. There are no chairs additions tonight. Under the public comment sign-in period, if anyone has any item on the agenda that they would like to comment on, please see the secretary and get a card, fill it out, and give it back to her so that I can recognize you when that agenda item comes along. All right. Item 5, presentations. Proclamation to proclaim April 2022 as Fair Housing Month in Ascension Parish. Mr. President.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to make sure that was on. Good evening, Council. So the 54th anniversary of the National Fair Housing Law and Title VIII of the Civil Rights Act of 1968 is an occasion for all Americans to rededicate themselves to the principle of freedom for housing discrimination wherever it exists. The National Fair Housing Law guarantees all citizens the right to freely choose a home and prohibits discrimination concerning the sale, rental, financing of their housing based on race, religion, national origin, and sex. A fair housing law has been passed by the state of Louisiana, and implementation of the law requires the positive commitment, involvement, and support of each of our citizens. Barriers that diminish the rights and limit the options of any citizen to freely choose a home will ultimately diminish the rights and limit the options for all. Therefore, I, Clint Quintmall, President of the Parish of Ascension, State of Louisiana, by the virtue of the authority vested in me, do hereby proclaim April 2022 as Fair Housing Month in Ascension Parish, and encourage all residents to be aware of their legal rights concerning housing. And Chair, I'm not sure, do we have anybody here that wants to speak on the Fair Housing Proclamation? Yeah. Not sure if we do, Chair, so I think we can probably move on.
Item B, proclamation to proclaim April 2022 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Ascension Parish.
Thank you, Chair. Child abuse and neglect is a complex and ongoing problem in our society, affecting many children in our community. Every child is entitled to be loved, cared for, nurtured, feel secure, and be free from verbal, emotional, physical abuse and neglect. Our communities are stronger when all citizens become aware of child maltreatment, prevention, and become involved in supporting parents to raise their children in a safe and nurturing way. Effective child abuse prevention programs succeed because of partnerships among families, social service agencies, schools, religious and civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community. Therefore, I, Clint Quintmall, President of the Parish of Ascension, State of Louisiana, by the virtue of the authority invested in me, do hereby proclaim April 2022 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Ascension Parish. And I do believe we have a speaker. I want somebody to come up and just talk a little bit.
Welcome.
Hello, gentlemen, ladies.
Please tell us who you are.
My name is Rachel Hester. I'm one of the Child Advocacy Service supervisors. We have volunteers that volunteer with our agency. A little bit about our agency. I'm not sure if anyone is familiar with it. But we as a nonprofit organization here in Ascension Parish, we actually have 10 parishes underneath our child advocacy service program. Well, we have 2 programs, but we have 10 parishes that have the CASA program. First, we have the court-appointed special advocates, which are our volunteers that go to court and they advocate for children in the court system that have been taken away from their parents and are in the foster care system. And statistics last year, in 2021, our agency in Ascension served 103 children with 43 volunteers. And so far this year, we're serving 71 children with 34 volunteers. We're always in need of volunteers. Children need us, and we're their voice. And without our voice in court, sometimes they spend a lot longer time in foster care than without a volunteer, because we are their voices, because they can't always speak for themselves. We also have a CAC, which is the Child Advocacy Center. They do forensic interviews of children that have reported neglect or abuse. And they come into our agency, which is right down the road, next door to the old courthouse. They come in, they do a private interview with just the child and the interviewer in the room. The interview is recorded. It cuts down on the many times that a child has to be re-interviewed, and sometimes they don't have to go to court to testify, which is awesome. So in 2021, our forensic interviewer conducted 143 forensic interviews. So far this year, she's conducted 22 interviews. And on an average, a child will last at least 3 years in foster care. And without a volunteer to speak up for them, they can last longer. You can do many things. You can tell your friends about being a volunteer, because like I said, we are always in need of volunteers. We advocate for what's the best interest of a child. They only devote 1 hour a month at the minimum to a child, whereas they only have one case, whereas DCFS has plenty. You attend court, you provide that constant for a child in that child's life while they're in foster care. Sometimes that's the only person that they have, is that CASA volunteer in their life. You have to be 21, you have to pass a background check, you have to go through training. We don't just let anybody, come in and say, I want to be a volunteer. There is training that you have to go through. And you have to commit at least 1 year to a child. And like I said, sometimes they last longer. You can donate. You can be a sponsor for a child. We call it 1541. It takes $1,541 a year for one child, for us to advocate for one child a year. You can do that. You can plant a pinwheel garden. During this month, we had pinwheels that we put out, and we take donations. You can put them in your yard. You can put them in your place of business, wherever you want. Put them on your car if they'll last, You can be on our advisory committee, become an advisory committee member. Right now, we don't have any, but we're always looking for them for our area here in Gonzales. If anyone's interested, you can go to our website at www.childadv.net, and it has all the information on there. And we thank you so much for allowing us to be here tonight.
Thank you so much. Sure. Coach. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, ma'am. I have visited the Child Advocacy Center, and it's quite amazing what they do, the services they provide. These children have no representation whatsoever, so they become their voice and their defense. So, doing some very good things. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Next on the agenda. Sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, thank you for what you do. I've also visited that facility, and what y'all do for children is amazing, and it's definitely necessary. You had 103 volunteers, no, I'm sorry, 103 kids and 43 volunteers last year, and 34 volunteers with 71 this year. So it looks like you're already on pace to pass up last year. So, you know, I do want to encourage anyone that does want to help. And also, you were saying to sponsor the kid, it's like $1,000 per child. I'm sure you also could do a program where maybe a couple people could get together and sponsor a child. You know, so thank y'all for what you do. And then 143 forensic interviews last year. And anybody that grew up in the 90s knows or had a pager what 143 is. So apparently those kids love y'all for what you do. So keep it up and thank you.
Thank you. Coach?
I just want to echo what Joe just said. It's always good to give back, and it's always good to participate in trying to help some needed person, especially the kids in itself, those that are very vulnerable. So again, thank you all. Appreciate the hard work, and God continue to bless. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments, council? All right, moving along, item 5C. C, certificates of recognition, and we're here to recognize some very important young men, Eagle Scouts. What I'm going to do, we have certificates for all of those who are going to be receiving their acknowledgement from the parish tonight. We have, I think it's 7. I think only 2 can be here, but we'll read the names of all of the ones who are going to be getting their certificates tonight. Certificate of Achievement. Ascension Parish government hereby recognizes, is proud to present a certificate of achievement to various scouts for achieving the rank of Eagle Scout. The Eagle Scout rank is the highest rank attainable in the Boy Scouts of America. The title of Eagle Scout is held for life, thus giving rise to the phrase, once an Eagle, always an Eagle. And these are signed by Parish President Clint Quintmont. And I guess I'll just read the name. I know one of them's here, Benjamin Poche. And who's the other young man in the back? Connor? Connor Cornett. Okay, he's in there. I know. Please come forward. Please come forward. I'm going to give those to the scout master. Yeah, I'm going to read their names. Okay.
Here's another one.
Be receiving certificates. Peyton Jean Delap, Alex Ockman, and Cade Anthony Russo. Let's give them all a round of applause.
Oh, we good. Yeah.
It's always nice to recognize these Eagle Scouts. It's amazing. That's quite a feat. Moving along, Parish President's Report. President Quintmore.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, council members. We're excited to be partnering with the Ascension Economic Development Corporation and many local organizations to be part of a job training fair in Donaldsonville. This will be taking place this coming Tuesday, April 26th, from 4 to 7 p.m. at Lowry Middle School. There will be multiple employers there ready to hire. Refreshments will be provided along with giveaways and potential leaving with a new job. This is a great collaboration with the businesses of Ascension Parish, and we're thankful for AEDC for putting this together. Second, I wanted to remind everyone about our Trash Bash being held this Saturday, starting at 8 a.m. and ending at 11:30 a.m. with jambalaya at each location. Please join us for one of our 4 locations at DBW West, DPW East, Lamar Dixon, and the APSO substation on Highway 42. We have many of our staff that have volunteered for this event, and we hope to see all of you and the residents out there with us this Saturday. Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development, DOTD, announced 6 public open housing events to provide information and receive input about the possible locations for the new Mississippi River Bridge. 2 of those meetings will be held in Ascension Parish. DOTD staff will be present to offer information about the 10 possible alternative routes. Maps, data, and other information will be exhibited to inform attendees of the remaining options. The open house events will allow residents and interested parties to drop in at any time between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. The same content will be provided at all events. The 2 Ascension Parish locations are Thursday, April 28th at Donaldsonville High School, and Monday, May 2nd at Lamar Dixon. So I would like to end my report here and invite Jeffrey Robert, Chief Operations Office of Lifehouse, to come up and speak a little bit about the program. But let's first watch a video.
There is hope. Here at the Lifehouse University, located in Louisiana and in Alabama now, as a faith-based organization, we offer people an opportunity to have a better life, to live in freedom every single day, and that's for men and women. Here at the Lifehouse University, we have a safe, clean, and comfortable home for those desiring a healthy change, a place to call home for a season, a place of camaraderie and fellowship with others who are seeking the same thing as you are.
Hi, my name is Matt Luno. I've been graduated for 13 years. My life has been completely turned around. Now I'm here to help others live in the same freedom.
My name is Jennifer, and I also graduated 4 years ago. Our Ruth House program can change the direction of your life if you would give it a chance.
Hello, my name is Matt Bostic. I'm the program director for Lifehouse University, Alabama. We are so excited to be able to help the men and women in our area, and we look forward to the growth that we are working on in the great state of Alabama.
Our staff is here to serve and encourage and equip you to be successful in life. We advocate for our clients. We provide licensed counseling, loving mentorship, career training, and job opportunities.
Hi, I'm Jay. If you enter our program, look forward to seeing you each week with others like me to build a relationship with you and invest into your life.
Hello, my name is Erin. We look forward to helping you have a better life. We want to hear your story and help you be able to create a new one.
Here at the Lifehouse University, you have the opportunity to finish our one-year life experience with dignity and a sense of accomplishment. Those things that have held you back will be removed, and you can have, listen to me, money in the bank. You can have a vehicle. a clean slate, new and restored relationships, and involvement that will feed into your future of living in freedom every single day. If you know of someone looking for an opportunity for a better life, listen, contact us by visiting us online at thelifehouse.fm. For those of you who are living in freedom and are looking to help others live in freedom, you can partner with us by coming by for a tour or volunteering to be a part of the solution. Maybe you're a business owner that can partner with us by providing opportunity for our clients to work for you. By employing one of these precious people, you'll be supporting and changing lives. For those of you who are in a position to give a donation to change a life, we welcome that, and you can hit the click to give button online. And we also have opportunities with our Lifehouse staffing and also Lifehouse construction that you can also click those tabs and find out about and see if that fits your needs. What a great way to impact your community. And so come on, guys, what are you waiting for? Come be a part of the family, and let's see lives change, and let's see people live in freedom.
Good evening. How are y'all doing this evening? Just like to thank y'all as the council for all that y'all do. Also giving us at Lifehouse the opportunity to come in and support y'all in some of the needs through drainage and other things that we've done throughout the parish with our Lifehouse staffing. We started about 22 years ago, actually right here in Gonzales. It used to be, I think it was called the old Peppermint Lounge. Pastor Mark and the Church United, which is what it was years ago, purchased that and turned it into a men's home. Over the last 20 years, we've been able to open up actually the old St. James Youth Detention Facility, which we purchased that from them about 4 years ago. Now we're able to help 116 men at that facility. Presently have 105 men there. A little over 90% of them actually are gainfully employed, several of them with the Ascension Parish. We also, through that program, we're able to employment like Smith Tank and Steel, St. James Parish Government. We work with them as well, Piku Lumber, some of those partners you saw there. But also, more than just employment and the opportunities y'all have given us, y'all are able to pour back into the Lifehouse and allow us to give them opportunities, these men and the women, because we also have a women's home in Gonzales, which we're able to help 35 ladies and several children that they've been reunited back with. But through that support of Ascension Parish and the local businesses here, what we've been able to do is help with the opioid addiction, the drug addiction, this incarceration situation that we have in recidivism, and the labor situations that we're having after COVID, where a lot of people haven't been able to go to work, or employers needing employment. We've been able to help through that as well, and we thank y'all for that. There at the Lifehouse, like I said, we're able to help 116 men, 35 ladies in Gonzales. We also have a campus in Alabama where we're helping right at 8 men right now, 5 ladies, and we're looking to purchase a men's campus there as well to do the same thing. And that's through a lot of the support that y'all have done here. In that one-year program where these men and women come, just so y'all know a little bit about it, it's not just for them to go to work. It's actually for them to get a new way of life, a new way to learn how to live in freedom every day, from whether it was from an addiction, from homelessness, incarceration, or just some unfortunate life-destructive lifestyle that they've lived, where they have, come to the point where they need some help. And we do that through this faith-based organization. We give them assistance with work readiness training. We have partnered with Workforce Development and LRS, which is Louisiana Rehabilitation Services, where we give work readiness classes. We also give on-the-job training and professional counseling through a partner that we have, actually also with Ascension Counseling. We use them as well to help the men and women through any counseling they need. But during that 1 year, they're able to go through counseling, they're able to go through job training, they're able to go through the work readiness classes. The state also helps with, if they get a job and they need tools, We've seen many men and women get up to $3,500 and $4,000 worth of tools to help them with their trade, to be able to keep that job and to actually excel in that job and get higher careers. That's what we do at the Lifehouse. If y'all have any questions or would like to come out and visit, feel free.
Thank you so much. Coach?
Thank you, Mr. Cagg.
Thank you.
First, I'd like to thank you all for the job that you all do. I had an opportunity to visit the camp maybe 5 months ago. John and I came out, and I was really extremely impressed on how things was going and the way things was being put up. And it looked very, very much suitable. Looked at exactly what we needed to have within the area and accommodate the things that's going on that we have going on in the surrounding areas. Keep the good work up, keep the job going, and we look forward to working with you all throughout the term of y'all going through.
Thank you.
Okay, Coach. Joel?
Yeah, Jeffrey, thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for what y'all do. This whole issue has a specific place in my heart. As you know, and several people know, I went through treatment in 2011. And like you said, it has to be a lifestyle change, and a lot of people need a fresh start. And that provides an avenue, provides jobs for people that couldn't get jobs in that point in time. Can put people in plants that wouldn't be able to get a job normally. Also, the partnering with everyone in the parish, outside the parish, I think that's great. I know Mr. Sam Smith. He's a very benevolent man, to say the least.
Yes.
He's put a lot into that place. I remember going to it whenever y'all first acquired it, and then as y'all worked on it, and I haven't been there for probably a year, but y'all were working on those apartments that I saw some pictures of, and that's pretty impressive.
Thank you.
But it's amazing what has been done there. The opioid crisis is real. It's something that affects everyone in the sense of you know somebody and you're very close to somebody that is affected by it. So thank you for what you do, and just encourage everyone. It's a place to reach out to. One of the biggest thing with drug addiction, opioids, is shame. And people don't want to reach out. People don't want people to know they have a problem. But guess what?
It's there.
And they know. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Robert. Any other comments from the council? Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge, from an administrative standpoint, what a blessing that Lifehouse has been for some of the labor that we've received in helping with a lot of the duties that we need and fell short of labor, especially during the crisis of COVID and that pandemic. So it's been a blessing, but more importantly, beyond that, is the ability for Ascension Parish government to take part in a program that changes people's lives. And I think that when we have that ability, it's something we should treasure, because people's lives are being changed and our community is better for it. So I want to thank Lifehouse and their commitment to us, and I want to thank the council for their commitment to them.
Okay. Councilwoman Kaza.
I just wanted to take a second to thank the administration and, of course, Lifehouse. I had the privilege of visiting there several months ago, and I do want you to realize that it's a very different place than you think. It's very personal. People are very committed. And I just appreciate everything they do, and I appreciate this administration utilizing the folks at the Lifehouse and giving them an opportunity to work and to accomplish more with their lives. It's very meaningful. Thank you.
Just piggyback on what Ms. Terry is saying, and it's very heartfelt, because we have a lot of situations that we have that's out there. And you all are doing a good job in taking care of some of those. I know we won't reach everybody, but you all are doing a good job of reaching the majority of the people that's out there that really want help and looking for help. You all are there with open arms. But on the second note, I really would like to just comment on the administration in itself in doing a super job in getting involved, not only with the Life House, but also with the job fair and the trash bash, and a lot of good things that I'm seeing that's going on. And sometimes you want to acknowledge that, and at this time I'd like to acknowledge that. It ain't always we do it, but I really like to acknowledge the administration stepping up and doing the things that they're doing, not just for Ascension Parish, but for the West Ascension in general itself that's going on. We have a lot of good things that's going on in West Ascension, and due to the part for the administration moving forward. So thank you all, appreciate it, and keep the hard work.
John?
Members of the council, Lifehouse has sent us a dozen, maybe 24 really great people. But from all the people that sent us, we've adopted Waylon as our mascot. He is just a champion with a great story, a hard worker, a true leader. I remember I met him during Ida doing sandbags, and he outworked 2 or 3 people at a time, and he has a great story, and it's like Clint said, it does prove that we can fix broken people, and at some level, government should have a role in that. So Waylon, if you don't mind, would you just share with your story?
My name is Waylon Walden, and born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm 60 years old. When I went out of high school, I became a part of the military. I spent 16 years in the United States Navy as a nuclear machinist mate on submarines, and was caught up in Desert Storm. October 23rd of 1983, we were off the coast of the Mediterranean, Beirut, Lebanon, when the Marine headquarters got blew up. I was one of 12 people that went in, search and rescue, and we rescued a lot of guys, but I'll never forget the 241 body bags we had lined up. That was my first experience with mass death. After I got out of the Navy in 1996, I opened up a company and I painted oil refineries and chemical plants. I was married for 26 years to a beautiful woman, school teacher. She taught special ed for 13 years. And I had a beautiful daughter. She was 16. Her name was Allie. And I lived in a gated community in New Orleans called Eastover on a 36-hole golf course. Me and my family were very involved in church, had a small group in our homes. My daughter was in a Christian dance group, and I was blessed. Made a lot of money and tithes to the church. And 2 weeks before Katrina hit New Orleans, I had a contract to paint a BP refinery in Houston, Texas. And I had my crew there. And the closer the storm got to New Orleans, the more I called my wife and asked her to evacuate if it was coming to New Orleans. And the night before Katrina hit landfall, my wife made the decision, like a lot of people, over 1,800 people were killed in that storm. She made a decision not to evacuate, and that decision cost her her life and my daughter. She was my only child. She was 16. And the day it hit landfall, I couldn't get a hold of them. You know, it wrecked all the cell phone towers. There wasn't any electricity. And so it was me and the National Guard and the Red Cross that were headed to New Orleans. And it was bumper to bumper on the other side. And once I got there, there was a man and a lady from Baton Rouge that had a flat-bottom boat that would come to rescue people and pets. And as far as I could get was right there on the interstate where the 2 cemeteries are on each side of the interstate in Metairie. And I asked these people if they could get me to my family. And they agreed, and we went through on the boat until we got to the Intercoastal Waterway, which is Shelf Highway. And it's about 8 miles to where I lived on. Anyway, once I got there, I swam, walked, waited that 8 miles until I got to where my gated community was. And I crawled over the gate, and there was only about 3 foot of water, and I thought my wife and my daughter would be okay. And But when I turned on my street, it looked like what I'd seen in Iraq. I didn't know it at the time, but a tornado had spawned from the hurricane, dipped down and hit 6 homes, and mine was one of them. It took 6 days for somebody to find my wife. It took 9 for somebody to find my baby girl. I lived on the 6th hole of the golf course, and they found my baby girl in a lake behind my home on the golf course. And for people that seen it on TV, they don't know the aftermath of what you had to go through if you had loved ones missing. You had to go to a command center and fill out paperwork of hair color, eye color, birthmarks, tattoos, anything to identify. They had so many bodies at the makeshift morgue, which was 45 semi-trucks that were refrigerated with bodies stacked in them. And you had to go there every day because there wasn't any electricity or cell phone towers. And on the 6th day, they told me, Mr. Walden, we think we found your wife. And they pulled a body bag out of a trailer and unzipped it. There was no way to do dental records, anything. There wasn't any electricity, no Wi-Fi, no nothing. And so they were asking people to visibly ID their loved ones. And I knew my wife since the 3rd grade. I lived two doors down from her, and it did something to me mentally, and I suffer real bad from PTSD. I'd been successful all my life, and I'd heard about PTSD throughout my naval career, but I never experienced it to that day. 3 days later, I had to go through the same thing with my baby girl. And my life has never been the same. I made arrangements for him, and I left New Orleans, and I went to San Diego, where I'd been stationed before, and kept having nightmares about seeing my loved ones in body bags. And then it got so bad that if I met you, then I might see you in a body bag when I had a nightmare. And PTSD, you know, it is a terrible thing. When you see someone with a broken leg and they got a cast on, you know they're hurting and you know they're sick and they need help. But PTSD, you can't see anything from the outside. It's all a mental thing, and the mind is very powerful. From that point on, I started seeing a counselor at the VA, and they're like any other doctor. I was prescribed medication for depression, for PTSD, and I had lots of money, and I did anything to make me feel better. I started drinking a little at a time, and then the prescription medication, I abused it, anything to make me feel better. I lived like that for a long time, and I had money, and so my addiction and my alcoholism just went rampant. It's the only thing I could get away from the memories and the thoughts, anniversaries, Christmases, birthdays. I just couldn't deal with it anymore. And so I became a full-blown addict and alcoholic to ease the pain. I went on like that for a long time until I ran out of money. I've been at the Lifehouse for 10 months. If you would have seen me a year ago, I was homeless. And if you've been to the French Quarter in New Orleans, you probably stepped over me on the sidewalk. I was that way for about 3 years of my life. I lived from one job to another when I could work. I couldn't take a shower. I'd give up on life. A year ago, I was tired. And I decided, man, that I didn't want to live anymore. This was on my daughter's birthday, June the 6th. And I took a whole bottle of sleeping pills. And somebody found me. And they took me to the hospital. And when they put me in the psychiatric ward, I got on my knees. And I told God if he would help me, I would do anything that he asked me to do. I ended up at the Lifehouse. It's been 10 months that I've been there. My life has radically changed. When I was out there addicted with alcoholism, I lost all my morals. I lost all my values. And I was very mad at God. I didn't want anything to do with him. I couldn't understand why I'd served him and my family had served him all my life. And then everything I loved was taken away from me. It didn't take me long after I made that prayer that God started restoring my integrity. He started restoring my values. On July the 19th, there were 6 men from the Lifehouse that reported Monday morning to Ascension Parish. We didn't know what to expect. John Diaz and Todd Elazar went out of their way to make that contract. They didn't know what to expect. But those 6 guys, we got up every morning, and it says in God's word, working to God, not as to man. And we did that, and we're still doing that. We go out there every morning and serve this parish. In that time, people like Todd Elazar and John Diaz have invested in us. They believe in us. And we go out there and we bust our butt for this parish. I met John Diaz about 3 days before Ida. You know, Ida hit on the 29th of August, 16 years to the day that I lost my wife and my daughter. And I lived through it at the Lifehouse. But before that, we were serving the community. We had 24-hour shifts of Lifehouse guys that were out there making sandbags, thousands and thousands for this community. And I met John Diaz and told him my story. And 2 months ago, he asked me if I would come before you and tell you my story. And I've been praying about that ever since. And I found out Monday I was coming here. You know, I want to thank the council because you've invested in our lives too. When you made that contract with the Lifehouse, people have poured into us. Mr. Diaz, you know, after I talked to him right before the storm, we stay in contact. One of my best friends is not here tonight, and he's the superintendent of the schools, David Alexander. And there's not a week goes by that I don't talk to him 2 or 3 times. I'm going to make Ascension Parish my home. And, you know, we've got 2 guys that were on our original crew out of the 6, and we've got 21 guys now. Those 6 that started, you know, we paved the way for some other guys. And 2 of those guys hired on full-time at Ascension Parish. And I was asked to. John told me the day we were out there working together, he said, "Well, you ever thought about working for Ascension Parish?" And I said, "Yeah, I thought about it." And he said, "Well, you don't have to do an interview. Just come and see me." And I got the opportunity to do that. But God's not got that in my life right now. The 19 guys that go to Ascension Parish, I'm in a crew leader position where Todd Elazar has me, where I can pour into these guys. We don't go out there without training them. We do a lot of chainsaw work, getting trees out of ditches. We do a lot of weed eater work with blades on them. And so I pour into these guys and train them where we'll be safe out there. And I mentor them. We've got a bunch of young guys. We got people that never had a job before that are learning. And so I take time and spend with them. And so I turned John down when he asked me for a job because of that. And but I plan on working there after a season. I get to graduate May the 4th. And it's a big celebration at Lifehouse University when somebody graduates. I'm telling you, you'll see some stories like mine. You'll see some that are different. And I'd like to invite the council on May the 4th to come to our graduation. It's at 6:30. And see the people that have went through the program, like me, and invest us in us. We really have changed lives at the Lifehouse. And I don't know if I'll ever leave. I'm going to be a graduate, and you know, it's a spiritual battle, this addiction problem. I've lived it, breathed it, and the battle is right there at the front lines at the Lifehouse. And I'm God's warrior now instead of the United States warrior. And I'm going to be fighting that battle for all the young people that come through there. And I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to go to work July the 19th at Ascension Parish. It's helped me restore my integrity and my morals and my values. And I've met a lot of great people that believe in me, like John Diaz and Todd Elazar and all the rest of them there at the yard. And I just really appreciate the opportunity for y'all giving us at the Lifehouse. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Waylon. Thank you for those very encouraging comments. Mr. President, anything else?
That's it for my report. Thank you, Chair.
Good. Thank you. Moving along. I'm sorry.
John Diaz, can you make sure that we all get an invitation, like a email for the Lighthouse graduation, so we know address and everything? Thank you.
Any graduation, John?
Yeah, absolutely. Can we make Coach come over here? I don't feel like walking over there.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Madam Secretary, would you please read the consent agenda?
Adoption of March 3rd, 2022 regular council meeting minutes. Adoption of March 17th, 2022 regular council meeting minutes. Adoption of March 23rd, 2022 special council meeting minutes. Approval of cooperative endeavor agreement between Ascension Parish government and Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office for the remodeling of the structure at 1200 St. Patrick's Street, Donaldsonville, Louisiana, to be a tutoring center on same property as the Early Childhood Development Center. The parish shall reimburse the sheriff for the costs associated with the remodeling and construction of the structure, not to exceed $250,000. Approval of amendment number 6, All South Consulting Engineers, for the extension of the contract term for an additional year through May 11, 2023. Approval of amendment of the agreement with Tyler Technologies, Inc. for additional executime training for an additional $10,220. Approval of intergovernmental agreement with the town of Sorrento to allow the parish to enforce on behalf of the town the Louisiana State Uniform Code, including issuance of all permits and the performance of all inspections required. All license fees shall be payable to and belong to the parish. Approval of contract for medical services between the parish and Ty-Gotro for medical needs of inmates at the Ascension Parish Jail. Total amount of the contract will be $56,700. Approval of Amendment 1 to the Cooperative Endeavor Agreement with Capital Area Human Services District for additional funds in the amount of $5,108.73 to cover one half of the utility costs for January and February 2022. Approval of Amendment Number 2, Central Fence and Gates LLC for additional days for substantial completion from 90 to 150 days for the soccer field fence replacement at Lamar-Dixon Expo Center. RFQ results and authority to enter into contract with the only responsive proposal received from Roberto Macedo and Associates for administrative consultant services for the funds received through the Department of Housing and Urban Development Program for Section 8 housing. Request for approval to submit an application for the 21-22 Local Government Assistance Program and the 21-22 Community Water Enrichment Fund. Approval of change order number 8, Shaw Construction Services for the Ascension Parish Sewer Program improvements to add 67 additional days due to soil condition around wet well number 2 and river level above 11 feet causing work stoppage on Brown Street sewer main and services. Approval of amendment number 10, Evans Graves Engineers, Inc., Parish Sewer Improvements Engineering Services for the extension of the contract term through August 31st, 2022. Approval of renewal of the joint intergovernmental agreement and cooperative endeavor agreement with the district attorney for the adult drug intervention program for 22. Total amount of agreement is $89,900. Approval of amendment number 1 to professional services contract for grounds maintenance services with Royal Estates Lawn and Landscaping to include the Health Unit West for an additional amount of $2,520 for a total contract amount of $167,431.89. RFP results and authority to enter into contract for parish HVAC maintenance with the 2 highest ranked responsive proposals from Corporate Mechanical Contractors with a score of 471 and Gallo Mechanical Services LLC with a score of 436. Approval of change order number 1, Getro General Contractors for the LD trademark roof insulation replacement, increase in insulation material that occurred from bid time, an addition of 107 days for hurricane delay, events delay, and material delivery delay. Increase in the amount of $13,633 for total contract amount of $189,633. Approval of a certificate of substantial completion, Getro General Contractors for the Lamar-Dixon trademark roof insulation replacement. Approval of certificate of substantial completion, ASA contracting for OEP department relocation and renovations. Approval of change order number 3, Richard Price Contracting Company, LLC, for the Roddy Road intersection improvements at Merritt Evans, Duval Road, and Norwood Road project to provide final quantities needed for the project. Deduction of $56,812.50. Total contract amount of $256,878.95. Approval of substantial completion, Richard Price Contracting for Roddy Road intersection improvements, Merritt Evans Road, Duval Road, and Norwood Road project. Approval of amendment number 3, Gresham Smith and Partners to include additional alternative modifications to the current study required by DOTD that the mitigation of the realignment of LA 621 will cause no adverse effects to the study area, specifically the hollows of Dutchtown subdivision, for an additional amount of $60,000 with a total not to exceed contract amount of $121,219.60. Approval of change order number 1, River Road Construction, Inc., for the Manchac Acres at Muddy Creek Bridge Replacement Project for utility relocation and additional 3 calendar working days. Additional amount of $792.50 for a total contract amount of $349,953.43. Approval of change order number 2, River Road Construction, Inc., for the Manchac Acres at Muddy Creek Bridge Replacement Project to add 40 calendar days due to delays in delivering box culverts by parish supplier. Approval of balancing change order number 1, decrease in the Move Ascension Project, ROAD 170017, Roddy Road clearing and grubbing, US 61 to LA 935, MA 1702A, by $24,526, and to add 81 calendar days for COVID issues and extra rainout days. Approval of certificate of substantial completion of the Move Ascension Project, ROAD 170017, Roddy Road clearing and grubbing, US 61 to LA 935. Approval of certificate of substantial completion of asphaltic concrete reconstruction and overlay improvements 2020, task order number 1. Approval of balancing change order number 6, decreasing the amount by $54,306.54 for the Move Ascension Project ROAD 180016 Henry Road at AP 930 Roundabout, and to add 20 calendar days to the project due to street light delays. Approval of certificate of substantial completion for the Move Ascension Project ROAD 180016 Henry Road at AP 930 Roundabout. Approval of amendment to participation agreement with St. Bernard Parish Sheriff for housing of juveniles to change the price from $200 per bed to $250 per bed, effective January 1st, 2022. Approval of cooperative endeavor agreement between the parish and Jambalaya Capital of the World for a one-time payment of $20,000. Approval of amendment number 2 to the cooperative endeavor agreement between Ascension Parish Government and Caris House for a one-time payment of $49,000 for additional staffing needed due to temporary housing at Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Approval of change order number 4 for the Move Ascension Project ROAD 170024 Seabro Safety Widening Bluff Road, LA 928 to LA 73 to add 25 calendar days due to utility conflicts.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Does anyone wish to remove an item from the consent agenda?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion to approve the consent agenda by Chase, seconded by Terry. Any objection? There being none, and motion carries. Which one? Next item. Okay, Coach, did you want to make a comment? You said under item D?
On D?
Yeah, for the consent.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman. The situation with the tutoring program that we have, along with the early childhood development, I think this increased, and we're very happy to see that that they're going to start on that project and getting the tutoring program along with the sheriff and the library board that'll be participating in getting this started. And the reason I say that, that particular project is in the heart of my district and is in a very needed area that we need to have that tutoring. And again, I want to give a shout out to the administration, Mr. Quintmore and Mr. John Diaz, doing an excellent job moving forward. So thank you, John, and thank you all.
Okay, Coach, thank you. The next item under general business, 8A, approval of amendment number 6, Roland J. Robert Distributors, Inc., to extend the original contract term an additional 6 months through October 31st, 2022. Mr. Goldsmith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is, like you said, to extend it for another 6 months. Since the last time we've talked, we've done a lot of work on this. We had our team get together. We put together an RFP. That RFP included, and there was a lot of questions about why an RFP, not a bid. The RFP was because we added a couple different elements. We wanted to add some requirements for data that we needed for our work order system. We also added several items related to emergency needs based on what we learned in IDA. But when this all came down to the proposals, we only had one person submit. And they weren't responsive because they couldn't handle a lot of the requirements we had in the RFP. So really there were no responsive people responding to the RFP. And what we learned was there's really no one company that can do all of this. So while the staff that had got together were kind of trying to think outside the box, and I was really proud of them for what they came up with, we learned that we do need to split this back into just a normal bid and into the other pieces. So we have already gotten together as staff. Cynthia and Devin have already started on putting together the typical bid for the fuel, just the fuel part. Jade is working on a plan, and actually he's already done most of that for the storms and the emergency needs. We'll probably also do another request for emergency fuel outside of what we normally get, because like for Ida, and look, hopefully we never have Ida again, but nobody had fuel, and it was tough. So we're trying to plan for that, and Jay's already made a lot of strides towards that. As far as the data, I think we can take care of that in the bid. I don't think anybody really had a problem with the data, and again, this is what we need for our work order system moving forward. It's really just getting the information electronically. So moving forward, I think we have a good plan. We just wanted to extend this so we could make sure we get this done. And y'all know I love to give shout-outs, so I want to give shout-outs to a lot of the staff that worked on this, because this was a lot of time and effort. Ron and Jade from the fuel side. We had Cynthia and Devin working from the purchasing side, doing all of that work. Sandra in legal, who did a lot of work to get everything in the right posture. Dawn in finance, and then Brian from our data analytics, trying to make sure that we had the right requirements in there. So, you know, the group had got together and we're really trying to think in terms of the parish. How do we do this best for the parish? How do we make this work? We learned a lot, and so moving forward, I think this will be better for the parish. I think we'll be better for going through this process and going through this journey, and what's going to result from this will be a comprehensive plan covering all of those issues, the emergencies, the data, and the regular fuel. So that's why we would like this additional time so we could try to get these plans finished.
Okay. Councilman Lawler.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick. Can this be done in less than 6 months? Can it be done in 3 months?
And I know we had that conversation. We will commit to move as fast as we can. If there's a decision to amend it down to 3 months, we'll work with that as best we can. I think we had just put 6 months just in case. We hope we do not need that. Hopefully we get responsive bidders for these things, but you just never know these days what's happening. So we will work with whatever the council gives us, and we will do our best to make it work.
Patrick, is it the time required just to get the RFP, the scope fashioned, and then get it out?
The bids typically take a couple months. You've got a lot of wait time in between, and then if we have the same person that we have now, then things should be fine. But if somebody else would win the bid, which, you know, we don't know, there would be some lead time in changing our card system, changing, you know, getting the difference between the tank who's putting the fuel in. So it's really hard to tell, but it is a long process to do these bids, because it's a requirement by Title 38 that we follow these processes and these timelines.
Okay. All right, I'm looking for a motion from the council.
Second.
Motion from Councilman Mason, second by Councilman Melanson. Any objection?
Councilman.
No, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, and Secretary, please note that Councilman Robert is abstaining. No objection? There being none, that motion carries.
Thank you.
Item B, condemnation proceedings for property located at 43318 Highway 621, Gonzales. Ms. Patrice, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Good evening. My name is Patrice Johnson, and I'm the Chief Code Enforcement Officer. I work over in the governmental complex. I've worked with some people, not everybody, maybe via phone or email, but Councilman Robert and I have been boots on the ground in his district getting things done, and I really appreciate you taking out the time with me. This item was on the October 21st agenda for condemnation to be condemned. It was deferred or they were given a 90-day extension to repair or demolish the property. At my last inspection, there was no change to the property. So we're here before you today.
Very good. Any questions, comments?
Gentleman's here.
My name is Norm Malonson. I'm Rodney Malonson's son. How you doing?
Nice to meet you.
I'm Rodney Malonson's son. That's my daddy's house. That's in that we're talking about now. I did bring my cell phone. He said that he had tried to contact someone yesterday. I'm not sure her name. I believe that's you. Okay, yeah, he said he had tried to call yesterday. So we began about 2 days ago working on the side of the house. It is now closed off and it has been talked up. A lot of the debris that was in the area has been removed. I finally got my father's blessing to go ahead and start on the home, which was kind of a big deal at first. But given that we had a short amount of time from when he told me I could start till then, I did as much as I could. And so I do have photos now if they need to be shown. I'm not really sure what it is that I need to do from here.
Can they show them on the overhead?
That's a camera right there in front of you, pointing down.
Okay.
See nothing.
We had it set up for a presentation, so I would have to unhook something and hook it up. So I'm not sure if there's another way. Do you want to take a second for me to do that, or?
How long would it take?
Maybe a minute or two.
We got time.
Okay.
Let's try that. Mr. President.
Ask us, or he can let us know what his request is, if he's requesting anything
Yeah.
while we're waiting.
Sir,
Are you requesting something?
what is it you're requesting of the council?
I would ask that we not demolish the home. My father grew up there, I grew up there, and now I have a daughter, and he has I have a nephew who was just born. I would like to continue to do work on the house now that I've received his blessing to do so, and get it to a point where I can remove the backside of that house. I'm no licensed carpenter per se. I mean, I've done hard work my entire life, and consisting of roofing and framing and flooring. So after overlooking everything in the house, I mean, the structure of the floor is pretty bad, but I'm almost confident that I can remove that side of the home and basically wall up everything and just have it basically livable from that point further. So I know that there's some repairs that need to be made to the other side of the house with the roof, but I guess with the council's permission, if it would not be demolished, that is what I'm requesting today, is that we do not hire a contract team to come and demolish the house. It is one of the only pieces of my childhood that I have left. I actually live across the street from it, so I hate to see it in the condition that it's in. And like I said, now that I've been given the opportunity to go ahead and do something to the home, I would like to proceed in restoring that side of the house.
I guess my question would be, how much time do you think you need to get it? And Patrice, it's not livable right now, correct?
Not in the condition that it is.
Okay. What do you think it might take to, you think he should provide us a scope of what he's planning to do and then a time frame so that when it gets to, I guess, give him so much time to repair it? There it is. Okay, we got it now.
Yeah, so this here is just showing some photos of what the current condition of the side of the house was. And then as we began yesterday, of course, I didn't get off of work until around 5, so I didn't have a lot of time to do a whole lot. But from there, we did cut all of the rafters that were, oh, great. We get it to work and then my phone dies.
I do want to point out, we did meet with his father last week, and we kind of discussed his options again. We've been dealing with this property since 2018. So I'm glad to see that they're saving the or attempting to save the property. But if we grant them an additional extension, we need detailed quotes, and we need to know and a timeline to say it's going to be done by this date, or we're going to demolish the property and face a lien against the property.
Okay.
Chase, I think you were first.
Yeah, I don't see Darren here, but I pass this house almost every day. I can't imagine how this house could ever be livable again. I mean, this thing has been wide open exposed for 4 years. I mean, what's there to salvage in it? The roof's wide open, the entire west side of the wall has been laying down.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I mean, I'm just curious if you've had anyone actually look at it to see if there's, look, and especially if you redo the house, you know, to meet our code, there's no electricity at the house, so you know you have to get permits and rebuild. I don't know, but I would be okay with maybe pushing this back one more meeting and give the homeowners an opportunity to give you as much detail as possible. But just giving another 90 to 60 days, it's been 6 months since October,
Right.
and my parents live a half mile from here. I pass this house every day, and it has not been touched.
Yeah.
And it's not just an eyesore. There's a driveway 15 feet from where that wall is that vehicles are parked. I mean, it's not a matter of if that house finishes falling down. When it does, it's going into the neighbor's property, and it's going to hit their car and everything. So
Yeah.
I think it's a huge safety issue.
Yeah, that's my Uncle Earl's house next door. Trust me, I hear about it all the time.
If I was Uncle Earl, I'd be upset too.
I completely, I agree. I do. And I've been fighting my dad with this for quite some time now.
So that gives me more concern. It's your dad's property, and he's fighting you. He's fighting you just to
my
make
dad
it
is-
safe enough to where it doesn't collapse. And
He's analysis, paralysis by analysis kind of guy. So he'll sit there and ponder something to a point where nothing gets done. And I actually attempted it quite a few months ago.
I don't know if you know, but you're not making the argument that you think you're making.
I know.
I'm
not going to try to stand up here and seem naive
Okay.
to the situation. I understand that the house is in deplorable condition. That there's been for quite a few years that I've wanted to begin doing something, and I finally got it to a point where he was like, you know what, go ahead and do what you want to. So, if I could just get the opportunity, let's say I don't get the house in a livable condition, if I can clear out a lot of the things that are in there and the remainder of the property, and then come back in whenever you guys say, and I can show you the progress that's been made from now to then. I mean, that is something that I could also offer to do. I mean,
the best I'm willing to offer right now is I'll offer an amendment to give them into our next council meeting on May the 5th for y'all to sit down with Ms. Johnson and sit down and give a detailed timeline and plan of what y'all plan to do.
Okay.
And with a very short timeline to live up to it. But, and if administration doesn't feel confident, I mean, because, look, I mean, this, in full disclosure, we're trying to clean up as much as these properties as we can around. This is something that we get complaints on every single day. I mean, we're dealing with some bad ones right down the road on 431.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll offer that amendment to put this on the May 5th. And that's, and
I got a motion and a second. I have some other people that would like to speak. Councilman Robert.
You know, I feel for you. It's where you grew up. It's memories there, but I've worked on old buildings my whole life. We've moved old buildings, we've restored old buildings, and something that I have learned, and especially the condition I just saw that house in, it would be cheaper, and when I say cheaper, it would probably be close to half the price for you to tear that down and build it fresh. And that's a fact. You've had weather exposed to it for months. Anything in there has no value. I'm not trying to make light of it, but I mean, it's been exposed to elements. Interior is not supposed to be exposed to elements. I would even say, I mean, I'll support the amendment if everybody wants to, but I'd even say it would save you some stress and some time and some work from now to the next meeting to not even have to worry about it. That's all. That's what I have to say.
Mr. President.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to see if we can request some type of financial plan. This is not going to be cheap. Okay, so whatever time frame you're given here, because if you're just going to clean it out, that doesn't fix the structure, it doesn't fix the blight. You're going to have a financial plan, just like Councilman Robert said. This is going to cost and permitting, and this is going to be serious money. So you're going to need to provide us some financial plan that you can carry out all these fixes with whatever your true desire for the structures to be, for us to make an actual decision based on that information. You're going
Once
to
it
need to
comes to
provide
this
us this
point,
type
if
of
something
financial
happens,
plan.
it's negligence on us too, because I mean, it's come to us with an extension, let's say something falls on the truck or something happens. I mean, we become liable to an extent here. How much more time can we really give?
That's my comment, Chair.
Councilman Lola.
Yeah, great minds think alike, Mr. President. I was thinking the same thing about the financial plan side of it. So that's already been said, but also it's still in your dad's name, correct?
Yes, sir.
Has he given any thought to putting it in your name, giving you ownership of it so you can do this? Because right now, what I'm concerned is if you go talk to Ms. Patrice and he doesn't give you that authority during this next month, he needs to be the one talking to Ms. Patrice and putting together this plan. He owns it. You know, it doesn't sound like you have the ability to go on there and do the work that has to be done. So he's the one that's going to have to come up with the financial plan and meet with Ms. Patrice. And you'll probably have to be there also. So, I mean, that's something to really think about on this. I don't know if we want to make that part of your amendment that we require him to be there also, because I don't want to see you wasting your time or her wasting her time meeting with you, and then he says you're not getting on the property. He's going to have to be bound by whatever happens, whatever agreements are made.
I would like that. I would agree with that, that he would be with me as well.
So I'll make an amendment that your father is required to be at all meetings regarding this property with the parish.
Second that.
You got a second?
Second.
Second by Terry. Okay.
Try to give you something.
Councilman Mason.
I kind of want to know what, Ms. Patrice, what do you think? I want to know your opinion on this, because you're the one that's dealing with this every day. We just hear about it once every 6 months, so I want to know what you think personally.
Make sure you step to the mic.
Yes, please.
So I definitely understand the sentimental value. We have been dealing with this property for a really long time. The three that we brought before you, we have been working on those for a very long time. The townhouse property and also there was another property on Germany Road. And I do understand, and even speaking with Mr. Malonzo, I do understand the sentimental value of the property. But as the house sits, how it is today, it's a hazard to, children in the area, animals in the area. So in the past, years ago, we offered that they would board it up. Can you find a way to just cover the hole? Just trying to compromise. That's a big part of my job, is compromising, but making sure I follow the ordinance. We do have boarding standards. We offered that, nothing was done. We've met with Mr. Malonzo. I've talked to Mr. Malonzo several times. I understand why he doesn't want to demolish it. The contractor that we work with, he does understand sentimental value. We just recently tore down a church next to Prairieville Park. While out there, one of the guys from across the street came over and he asked for the bell. He said because his grandfather helped build that church. So we definitely understand the sentimental value. And I'm willing to continue to work with the Malonzo family to get this property either salvaged or demolished.
Well, I remember when Mr. Malonzo was at the last meeting, he kept talking about the good wood in the side of the house.
The flooring.
The flooring, yeah. Is that what you're interested in, or you're interested in fixing the house back to livable?
I think ultimately, and I would agree with Mr. Robert. Financially, I'm not made of money, and just looking at it, you can tell that it's going to take thousands and thousands of dollars to repair the home. There is wood inside of that home that is that does hold good value because of the wood that was used when it was built. Am I interested in the wood? No. I'm more or less interested in all of the stuff that remains in the home, not in the side of the house that you've seen in the picture, but in the side of the home that is actually still standing. There's a ton of things in there that belong to my mom, my great-grandmother, even people in my family who I've never had the opportunity to meet because they lived well before, died well before I was born. And that's the kind of stuff that I'm interested in getting out. If I could clear all of that out and then assess the rest of the damage from that point of the home on, just to see if it can be to a point where it can be salvaged, then that's what I would like to do. If it cannot be salvaged, then like he said, with it being, a cheaper route to take to have it just demolished, then we'll do that, just more or less. I don't want to see it torn down with all of those things inside of it. Just hearing Ms. Johnson speak about how they've given my father opportunity after opportunity is just, it's news to me. My dad happens to be he's a very closed off man. He doesn't talk a whole lot. So just hearing these things for the first time kind of builds frustration, but there's nothing against him. I love him to death. He's always been a good man, and I just think he sees the property and it becomes overwhelmed to a point where he chooses to do nothing.
So the deadline that Councilman Melanson proposed, May 5th meeting, would you be able to get the stuff out? I mean, it's like 2 weeks, but I mean, is that enough time for you to get all that stuff out of the house? I mean, if all you want at the end of the day is just get the stuff out, I mean, we can give you time to get the stuff out. That's not a problem.
There's an issue.
And what?
Well, he doesn't own it. He can't, I mean, that's not his, it's his father's stuff. I don't get it.
Will your dad let you get the stuff out?
Yeah. Me and my dad are extremely close. It's just when it comes to this person, this part of the situation, it's like he hasn't included me on how these things went or how the conversations with Ms. Johnson have gone. Like,
so he'd sign off on it.
What's that?
You can get him to sign off on it, and he'll be fine with that.
With getting the stuff out. We're just getting the stuff out of the house. Your dad's okay with you getting the stuff out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, sorry. I mean, if that's all you want, I'm good with giving you time to do that. But
is there time after the condemnation to be able to do that anyways, or after we make
Yeah.
that?
Yes, that's time, but it's only 30 days.
Okay.
Okay, gentlemen, let's not talk over one another. Councilman Wagensback had his request to speak.
I'm done. I'm
That's
good.
okay.
Thank you.
No, I was thinking along those lines, where rather than you try to rebuild the house. I mean, people always take pieces of houses out. I mean, I even saw some of the windows. I'm not sure how good a shape, but you could build that into a shed. I was just thinking, yeah, if that's what you want the time to do, just looking at it, I've not seen it in person, but.
And I do want to point out, there was a mobile home behind this house, and when he got maybe not the initial letter, he did demolish that mobile home. That mobile home was removed from the property. Ms. Melanson did tell me he would not be coming to the meeting, and for personal reasons. So I expected him not to be here today. I asked him if he would write a letter, just kind of explain why the house hadn't been torn down. He said when he came to the meeting, he didn't know that he was going to have to say so much the initial meeting. So I told him they could have emailed us something privately or gave us a letter that I can give to you guys just to read that, so that he'd have to come up and speak. So when I did get the voicemail from your father, he did say that you were coming. He did say that you don't want to demolish the home for sentimental reasons, and we completely understand. So whatever you guys decide, I support 100%, and I'm willing to work with the Melanson family.
Councilman Melanson.
Yeah, you said it's kind of the first time you're hearing about it, but on December 22nd, 2018, your father accepted a letter. On January 2nd, 2019, he emailed the parish back. On November 26, 2019, another letter. I mean, there's like 6 correspondence here dating back to December of 18. But I'll stick with my original motion that we give y'all until the next council meeting, May 5th, to come up with a timeline, financing, details of what you want to do to present to administration, and then come back to us and see if the council feels that that is sufficient.
That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we have a motion
Second.
by Chase, second by Terry, to extend it to the May 5th meeting, when you will come to us with financial plan, whatever plans of contract work you plan to do to restore the house.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there any objection, or get your stuff out, yeah?
Yeah, I'm gonna withdraw my, well, I'm so confused now. Because I thought we had amended it. Didn't I amend it to require that the father be there also?
Do you want to rescind your amendment?
Yeah, I'm just amending it that we would.
You want me to just clean mine up?
Yeah, you can clean yours up, I mean, yeah.
I want my motion to include that the owner, your father, Mr. Malonson, is the one meeting, if you want to assist him, of course, but he's the one meeting with Ms. Patrice and administration and our building department to ensure that the home can even be rebuilt and that there's a financial and a timeline plan in place for the home.
Okay.
And we'll have administration present that to us at May 5th, if that works.
Okay, got an amended motion by Councilman Malonson.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Cazzo. Any further discussion? Any objection? I have one objection. Roll call vote, Madam Secretary. Okay, roll. The vote is 7 yeas, 1 nay, so the motion carries. Okay. Next item. I'm sorry. Thank you, Patrice. Again. Item 9, introduction of ordinances. I'll read the ordinance and remind everybody I do not need a second, I just need a motion to introduce. Item A, introduction of ordinance to amend the Ascension Consolidated Utilities District Number 1 and Parish Utilities of Ascension Water Company Rules and Regulations, Section 4, Billing, Fees and Payments, 3, Fees, to adjust and revise the fee schedule.
Motion to introduce.
Motion by Councilwoman Cazzo to introduce. Item B, introduction of an ordinance, Budget Amendment Number 3, to amend the 2022 budget.
Motion to introduce.
Motion by Councilwoman Cazzo to introduce. Item 10, public hearings, ordinances. Reading of an ordinance to amend the Ascension Parish zoning map from Conservation C to medium industrial MI to light industrial, medium industrial, and heavy industrial. Zoning review ID PZ 2811.22 for Charles Tebow, located on the east and west side of LA Highway 405, approximately 8,300 feet, 1.57 miles north of LA Highway 1 North. Kenneth, would you please read the ordinance?
Thank you. Ordinance number ZM22-02, zoning change ID PZ 2811.22, changing the official zoning designation for Charles Tebow to rezone from Conservation C and medium industrial MI to light industrial LI, medium industrial MI, and heavy industrial HI, provides for severability and an effective date. Purpose: this ordinance amends the official zoning designation for Charles Tebow property per attached legal description from Conservation C and medium industrial MI to light industrial LI, medium industrial MI, and heavy industrial HI. This rezone is identified as zoning review ID PZ 2811.22, whereas Ascension Parish is a local government subdivision as defined by Article 6, Section 44 of the Louisiana Constitution of 1974, and whereas the Parish of Ascension is the governing and responsible body over the zoning and regulations within this jurisdiction, and whereas Article 6 of the Home Rule Charter of Ascension Parish adopted May 4th, 1993 identifies the process and manner in which to adopt ordinances regulating the lands of this parish, and whereas the official zoning map for Ascension Parish was last adopted on March 8, 2016, and whereas the Parish Council reserves the authority to make changes to the official zoning map by ordinance, and whereas this request has been processed in compliance with the procedures set forth, be it ordained by the Ascension Parish Governing Authority that the official zoning map of Ascension Parish, Louisiana is amended to reflect the property identified and Exhibit A as light industrial LI, medium industrial MI, and heavy industrial HI as official zoning designation. Severability: in the event any portion of this ordinance is ever held invalid or unconstitutional for any reason by any court of competent jurisdiction over it, such portion shall be deemed a separate, distinct, and independent provision and shall not affect the validity of the remaining portions of the ordinance. Effective date: the ordinance shall be in full effect as permitted by law. Exhibits: A, legal description; B, plot map; C, aerial/zoning map. Adoption: this ordinance having been submitted to a vote, the vote thereon was as follows.
Motion to open a public hearing. Councilman Robert. Second by Councilwoman Cazzo. Motion to close the public hearing from Councilman Mason, second by Councilman Wagaspack. Motion to move the ordinance by Mason, second by Councilman Mr. Lawler. Esquire Lawler. Any objections? There being none, the motion carries. All right, this is 9D, reading of an ordinance to create an economic development district within the parish of Ascension to be named Riverplex Megapark Economic Development District, defining the boundaries thereof from which district of sales tax and ad valorem tax increments will be determined and used to finance and fund all or a portion of the cost of economic development projects of the district. Kenneth, would you please read the ordinance?
Thank you. Ordinance creating an economic development district within the parish of Ascension, Louisiana to be named the Riverplex Megapark Economic Development District, defining the boundaries thereof from which district the sales tax and ad valorem tax increments will be determined and used to finance and fund all or a portion of the cost of the economic development projects of the district, all in accordance with and as authorized by Chapter 27 of Title 33 of the Louisiana Revised Statutes of 1950, as amended, and providing for other matters in connection with the foregoing. Whereas that certain real property located in Modest, Louisiana, parish of Ascension, the parish having the geographical boundaries set forth in Exhibit A attached hereto and hereby incorporated in and made a part of this ordinance, the district property, and having the same boundaries as the West Bank Industrial Overlay District at present, is principally utilized for agricultural purposes, and whereas the absence of key infrastructure investments have prevented the industrial and commercial development of the district property on what would be considered prime industrial development land due to its ready access to the Mississippi River, and whereas industrial companies and commercial developers have expressed interest in making substantial investments within the district property if the necessary infrastructure is provided, and whereas the parish is in need of additional dedicated sources of funds for the purposes of financing the cost of infrastructure, commercial, and other economic development projects within and about the district property, and whereas industrial, commercial, and other economic development projects within and about the district property will create additional new jobs during the development and construction phases and new permanent jobs following construction during the operational phases, and will thereby stimulate the local economy and be a driving force behind economic development, job creation, and growth in the parish, and a direct benefit to citizens of the parish. And whereas the current use of the district property produces a relatively low amount of sales tax and ad valorem tax revenue and no occupancy tax revenue, and whereas the parish intends to use sales tax increment financing, ad valorem tax increment financing, and occupancy tax increment financing in accordance with the requirements of Chapter 27 of Title 33 of the Louisiana Revised Statutes of 1950, as amended, the act to provide all or a portion of the funds needed to finance infrastructure and other economic development projects within and about the district property, and whereas in order to authorize and utilize such financing mechanisms in accordance with requirements of the act, it is necessary for the parish to create an economic development district and define its boundaries as hereinafter provided, from which the tax increments are to be determined, and whereas the Ascension Parish Governing Authority proposes to create an economic development district within the parish to be known as the Riverplex Megapark Economic Development District, the district from which the district tax increments will be determined and used to finance economic development projects within and about the district property, and whereas in accordance with the requirements of the act, prior to the adoption of this ordinance, a notice describing the boundaries of the district has been published 2 times in the Gonzales Weekly Citizen, the official journal of the parish. Now, therefore, be it ordained by the Council of the Parish of Ascension, this council, that Section 1, the construction and financing of infrastructure and commercial projects within and about the district property, which will create additional new jobs during the construction phases and new permanent jobs following construction, and which will thereby stimulate the local economy and be a driving force behind economic development, job creation, and growth in the parish and the district. direct benefit to citizens of the parish are declared to be economic development projects as set forth in the Act. Section 2, in accordance with the requirements of the Act, this council does hereby create an economic development district within the parish to be named the Riverplex Mega Park Economic Development District. The district having the geographical boundaries of the district property as set forth in Exhibit A attached here to and hereby incorporated in and made it part of this ordinance. This district shall have the power to utilize all tax increment financing mechanism available to an economic development district in accordance with and pursuant to the requirements of the Act. Section 3, in accordance with the provisions of LARS 33:9038.32D, the council, as the governing authority of the parish, shall be the governing authority of the district. Section 4A, prior to the construction or financing of any infrastructure development within the district property, council shall adopt an economic development plan or plans, each as it may be amended or supplemented from time to time. A plan, Ascension Economic Development Corp., together with its successors and assigns AEDC, shall prepare or cause to be prepared an initial plan to submit to the council for adoption as the initial district plan. Further, absent any formal action of this council subsequent to the adoption of this ordinance, to the contrary, AEDC shall prepare or cause to be prepared any future amendments, modifications, and or supplements to the initial plan to present to the council for consideration to be adopted by the council. A plan shall provide an overall policy and plan of action for the district stating goals and objectives and shall specify the public improvement facilities and services proposed to be furnished, constructed, or acquired by the benefit of the district and the projects intended to be constructed and financed in whole or in part with district funds, and the council shall conduct such public hearings, publish such notice with respect thereto, and disseminate such information as it in existence of its sound discretion may deem to be appropriate or advisable in the public interest. Any plan may specify and encompass any public services, capital improvements, and facilities which the parish is authorized to undertake, furnish, or provide under the Constitution and laws of the state of Louisiana, and any other descriptions of services, professionals, or other matters that may be included within an economic development plan as authorized by the Act. C, before the implementation of any district financing of a project within or about the district property, a plan shall be amended, modified, or supplemented, or an additional plan shall be adopted by the council as applicable to include an estimate of the annual and total cost of acquiring, constructing, or providing the services, improvement, facilities, or other projects to be financed in whole or in part with district funds. Section 5A, council may, in the implementation of a plan, create one or more sub-districts to conduct, oversee, or assist in the implementation of such plan. The boundaries of such a sub-district may include all or part of the district property, subject to the limitations of an economic development district created pursuant to and as set forth in the Act. Such sub-district shall have and exercise such powers and responsibilities as the council shall specify in enabling the ordinance. The full extent of such powers and responsibilities may include such powers as the council itself may exercise as governing authority of the district, and such other powers as are given to the sub-district by this subsection or any other law. But any exercise of such powers by the sub-district shall be confined solely to the geographical limits of the sub-district. Such a sub-district may be established to exist at the pleasure of the council or for any period or time or until the happening of any occurrence or occurrences that the council may specify. B, the creation of a sub-district shall in no instance result in the detachment, severance, or loss of any power or responsibility granted to the council by the Act and this ordinance. And within the confines of any sub-district, the council shall have full jurisdiction concurrent with that of the sub-district to exercise their powers and responsibilities. The fact that a certain power is expressed or implied in this subsection as pertinent to a sub-district's conduct, overseeing, or assistance in the implementation of the plan shall not suggest or imply that such powers is otherwise denied to the council. However, the council, its sub-district, shall not collectively have any greater power to tax than granted in the first instance to the council alone. C, the council shall be the governing authority of each sub-district. D, unless otherwise specified in ordinance or other formal act creating the sub-district shall be a distinct and separate juridical entity. Projects within a sub-district shall be subject to the plan for the entire district property, and additionally, the council may adopt a specific plan that applies only to such sub-district or multiple sub-districts, provided that in all cases, any plan adopted for only one or more specific sub-districts must be consistent with the purposes and policies of the plan or plans applicable to the entire district property. F, in addition to the other powers that may be granted, a subdistrict may enjoy within its geographical boundaries the powers of tax increment financing, the issuance of revenue bonds, and those other powers that may be exercised by the district pursuant to LARS 33:9038.32, and a subdistrict shall be subject to all limitations and requirements applicable to an economic development district created pursuant to LARS 33:9038.32. G, each subdistrict shall be given a name and designated as Riverplex Megapark Economic Development District, subdistrict number, or such suitable name as the council may designate. Section 6, the council hereby declares that in order to ensure the unimpeded flow of infrastructure throughout the district property and to ensure that all future projects and developments within the district property have an opportunity to access the infrastructure improvements that are contemplated by the district to be made with the district property, it is and shall be the official policy of the council that any future owner, lessee, or other person having a right to develop a project within the district property, whether such project be a public project, a private project, or a public/private project, must cooperate with the district and its consultants, contractors, and professionals to provide a location for the construction of such infrastructure improvements and to grant public and/or private servitudes and related rights for the construction, access, ingress, egress, and maintenance of such infrastructure improvements in a manner that is consistent with the infrastructure plans of the district, as such plans may be made and amended from time to time as a prerequisite to obtaining any economic benefit that may be provided by the district or by the parish or the council or any other local body having jurisdiction. Section 7, in accordance with the requirements of the Act, there has been published 2 times in the Gonzales Weekly Citizen, the official journal of the parish, a notice describing the boundaries of the district in a form attached here to its Exhibit B. Severability in the event that any portion of this ordinance is ever held invalid or unconstitutional for any reason by any court of competent jurisdiction over it, such portion shall be deemed a separate, distinct, and independent provision and shall not affect the validity of the remaining portion of the ordinance. The effective date, this ordinance shall be in full effect as permitted by law. This ordinance having been submitted to a vote, the vote thereon was as follows.
Second.
Motion by Coach to open a public hearing, second by Terry. Motion to close by Aaron. Second by Mr. Robert. Motion to move the ordinance by Chase, second by Aaron. Any objection? There being none, that motion carries. Now, motion to adjourn. Joel, second by Mr. Mason. We are adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.
Wasn't that long? Jesus.